The Herd, brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Think a train will stop if it sees your car? On the tracks, it will a mile after it hits you. Stop, trains can't. Joel Klatt joining us in 10 minutes. Nick Wright was amazing today, and Steven Jackson was in studio. Steven Jackson lit up the Spurs on Monday, made a lot of news on this show. So this is interesting. Johnny Manziel met with the Patriots and others on Tuesday. The Patriots have, in now multiple instances, been seen watching Johnny Manziel throw a football or meeting with Johnny Manziel. Now, for the record, I would not sign Colin Kaepernick, Tim Tebow, or Johnny Manziel as a backup because I have a rule. I do not want my backup quarterbacks to be, quote, newsworthy. I do think Colin Kaepernick is really talented. He went to a Super Bowl. Not franchise built around him talented, but he's got talent. I don't think Johnny Manziel is that talented. I've never thought Johnny Manziel is an NFL quarterback. I don't think he's wired to be it. I don't think he's big enough. I don't think he's accurate enough. I'm not a Johnny Manziel guy. But I will say this. 71 quarterbacks took a snap last year in the NFL. 71. So you get to week 8 and 9 and 10, and you're a 5-4 team in a playoff race. And I do think, now, Johnny Manziel's issues, and I'm not being glib here, are documented by Johnny Manziel. This is not me taking shots. I'm not going to be glib here. He parties, and he struggles with addiction. And I got to tell you, I do think there are a handful of places he could be in more trouble. Miami, Los Angeles, Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, Arizona and Scottsdale, the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think those are ideal. I don't think they're ideal. Green Bay. Been to Green Bay in the winter? You're indoors at film study. Boston, New England. I would argue Kansas City, Indianapolis. Again, I'm not a guy interested in a newsworthy backup quarterback. I was never a Tebow guy. Once Kaepernick decided he was part politics, part sports, I'm not interested, and I'm not interested here. All different reasons. By the way, I didn't like Tebow because I thought Tebow became kind of a PR stunt. And with his following, unless you had like a Tom Brady or a Drew Brees or a Matt Ryan who's going to start for, a long time, I thought he was disruptive. Reporters moving in, Tebow questions. So I'm not in. My rule is always, if you're newsworthy as a quarterback, you're either a franchise guy or, to me, you're unemployed. I'm not interested in a PR guy, an interview guy, an attention guy. I want my backup quarterback to be Drew Stanton. Drew Stanton could walk into a food court in a mall in Phoenix where he plays, and nobody knows who he is. Brian Hoyer, one of the 13 McCowns quarterbacking in the league. That's kind of my feeling. RG3, to me, has become a little bit of a celebrity newsworthy backup. Very Tebow-ish. But I think New England, and I'll tell you this, I could see them being one of the rare ones that it could maybe work.
That's how it feels to me, too. The Patriots seem like a good fit.
Okay. Gronk is intimidated talking.
Yeah.
Like, it is one of those where I wouldn't do it, but they've been really good. And superstar starting quarterback, completely adult, celebration. It's pretty, let's be honest about it. It is corporate. It is like an accounting firm. It's IBM with cleats. So I think this is one where there may be something to it. They've interviewed him now a couple of times. Remember last year when Gronk he took a question at the podium, and party guy Gronk sounded intimidated.
Yeah, that was not planned or anything, and we got yelled at. We're not allowed to talk about celebrations. That's what we got told, but I kind of want to talk about it. But I kind of don't, because I'll get in trouble. So I don't know what to do. So It just happened on the spot. It wasn't planned. We'll just keep it there.
The giggle at the end.
That is my favorite quote in the NFL last year. And that is the reason why Manziel there, you can see it kind of, you're coming into not only a stable family, but a no-nonsense, won't talk. And by the way, the brand is so strong that players know that coming in. It's not one of those like, ooh, I wonder what this family's like. It's like, oh, yeah, none of that will be tolerated.
It's very structured.
To the point where there's a certain rigidity that, like Tom Brady, and you're hearing stories now, players are like worn out from kind of the relentless rigidity. Christine with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
We heard from Jay Gruden on how he feels about Alex Smith taking some shots on Kirk Cousins.
Didn't like that.
Right, me either. So now Mike Zimmer has a very different opinion about Cousins, and he's saying that he's trying to temper some expectations.
I don't look at this as the Super Bowl or bust and all the things everybody's saying. We have to get better in a lot of areas, and we just felt like the stability at that position is important for us. I've had 4 quarterbacks in 4 years, whatever it is. Just trying to get some stability at that position is important for us.
That's a healthier way to talk as a head coach.
Yeah. I'll say this. Over the last 10 years, you can certainly argue Washington is one of the more dysfunctional teams, like ownership. They had a GM situation. Kirk Cousins may not be Aaron Rodgers. That kid added a ton of stability to that franchise. Here's another thing about Kirk Cousins. He's a big kid. He never gets hurt, Christine. He's like Eli Manning. He doesn't avoid a lot of hits, but when he gets hit, he doesn't get hurt. Washington's been an unstable, chaotic 10-year run. He added stability. And for anybody in life that's lived with instability, stability's a real thing. Mm-hmm. And so I'm on the Kirk Cousins was better than Case Keenum train.
I'm very interested to hear what you're going to say about this.
Okay.
There's been a lot of rumors about who Miami is going to take with the 11th pick in the draft.
Yes.
Adam Gase is talking very highly now about Baker Mayfield.
No, I think he'll go there.
Okay.
That's my guy. I think if available, I think that's it.
Okay, so listen to what he said.
I think Baker's personality is something that's infectious to other guys. I think, there's a competitiveness that you'd love to see. You can tell that he don't want to lose at anything that he's doing. It doesn't matter football. I don't know what else that he could possibly be doing, but whatever it is, he wants to win at. And as a coach, you always love guys like that. You want to be around them because that gives you a little bit more. You want to make sure that you do more for that guy to put him in a better position. So when you get that kind of energy from guys, it's fun to be around. And, I've enjoyed the amount of time that we've been able to spend with him.
So he's saying that Mayfield has a personality that is infectious to other guys. Do you think that is true, or in a good way infectious?
I don't believe in infections. I don't think infections.
Infectious.
I don't like being infected.
Well, if you're contagious, then it's an infectious infection.
Yeah, I don't think Baker Mayfield in Miami.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's a port city.
I love how you go to it's a port city. Let's call it a party city, not a port city.
Okay.
It's not like the boats are going to make a difference, unless it's a party boat.
I actually think, I really do. I think if you put him in like a Kansas City, a Green Bay, a Buffalo, I think it would help him. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think the TMZ-ish thing. I don't think it helps him. That's just my.
I agree.
Oh.
I agree with you. Finally, speaking of the Patriots and Tom Brady, Giselle is saying now in an interview that she would never try to convince Tom Brady to retire.
Love that.
And hold on. And she said specifically, as long as he's happy, he's going to be a better father, he's going to be a better husband, and I just want him to be happy. I do have my concerns, like anyone would. I'm entitled to have my concerns because my husband is the father of my children. All very valid points.
Yeah, I think she's very well spoken there. But a woman should let a man pursue all his interests.
Oh, my.
Unequivocally.
No.
Because Clap's like immature.
Yeah.
Cowherd's in big trouble. It's not going to work.
All his interests. Pursue all of them. No. Look from afar. Don't pursue those interests.
Your mind's going to the wrong place.
Well, that's the way you said it. You're like, a woman should allow a man to pursue all of his interests.
My interests are riding a motor scooter with my son this weekend in the mountains.
Do that.
Your mind went into bad interest. Mine went into going on a roller coaster at Universal with my son.
Sometimes the men need to be reined in.
What?
By their women.
By their women.
It's true. Look at you going off the handlebars there.
You went way over there.
Well, because I know men's interests sometimes.
Hanging out with their kids.
Good. Do that more.
All right.
Pursue that.
Christine with the news. Yeah, you are funnier than Goulet.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Let's bring in Joel Klatt, who had to endure my stupidity there.
Yeah, Joel, what do you think about the pursuing of the interest?
He has my interest, kids.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to spend time with your kids,
fly fishing.
I'm all
Pursue
for
that.
it. Not all of men's
Interest should be pursued.
Yeah.
And women should not allow
How do I
that.
segue out of this?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd like to play 36 holes of golf every day, but
Yeah, don't pursue that.
yeah, exactly, right? That would not be well.
Football analyst. Okay, so let's put up your mock draft, which I've looked at every mock draft in the country this morning, and yours is the most accurate.
Oh.
In my opinion, yours makes sense.
Oh.
No, I mean, and I'll go through it. First of all, Cleveland needs a quarterback.
Yep.
Number two, it appears New York's not going to move at quarterback. So if they're not, they have had since Tiki Barber, they've had an abysmal running game. And you've been on this. Barkley's a home run hitter.
Yeah,
Makes
I think
sense.
Barkley's a great player, and obviously if he's available for them and they're not going to move out. Now, I will say that I think Bradley Chubb might be in play at number 2, and here's the reason. With the JPP move, they know that the blueprint is quarterback and to rush the passer. They have not had a great pass rush since winning those 2 Super Bowls, so they might try to upgrade at the pass rush spot.
They've already got pretty good defensive personnel.
I agree. That's why I stick with Saquon Barkley,
Yeah.
but I think Bradley Chubb may, again, be in play at number 2.
Okay, you have the Jets going Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Now, again, I think you're doing this based on information. I don't think you're so I wouldn't do this.
I know. Well,
okay, because
the
you
NFL
moved.
community likes Baker a lot more than the media community. The media community and the analysts out there that you're clicking their articles, you're listening to their shows. There's a lot of the red flag. Baker Mayfield's a partier. Blah blah blah. That's not what the NFL people are getting, because when Baker's around NFL personnel, they understand that he is a football guy. And this is what I've been trying to tell you for a long time here. This guy is not off the rails off the field. He had a couple of bad incidents. I'm right with you with saying, hey, that police video is awful. You don't want to be a guy running away from the police. That's why I don't have him number 1, quite frankly, because over the last 2 or 3 seasons, there's nobody in college football that has played the position of quarterback better than Baker Mayfield.
That's fair.
And
that I cannot deny. I can say, though, that Lincoln Riley made 2 guys at Eastern Carolina look great. And I can say the Big 12, have they disbanded tackling in recent years? So offenses numbers, Baylor quarterbacks, they had a lot of quarterbacks from this conference that rack them up.
I think that's a lazy argument.
Am I
Here's
being
why.
lazy?
Yes. Here's why. Because when you look at the games against, like, Georgia, he was phenomenal against Georgia in the Rose Bowl. He was insanely good at Ohio State against a very good Ohio State team.
He was amazing.
In fact, sitting down with Urban Meyer, I think it was 2 weeks after that, we were getting ready to do the Ohio State-Maryland game, Gus and I. And we were sitting in Urban Meyer's office, and I just asked him, about that game. And I was like, what did you think went down? And he looked me dead in the eyes, and he was like, I've never had an opposing quarterback play that well against me ever. Ever. He says he didn't know if there's ever been an opposing quarterback play that well at the shoe, ever. And he was stone cold serious, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So clearly a lot of praise for Baker Mayfield on that, and that was against his stiffest competition.
Then you have the Browns taking Bradley Chubb and Denver taking Denzel Ward to keep Talib gone.
Yeah.
My belief is there's 3 players in this draft 4 players in this. No, I shouldn't say that. There's just a handful of guys that people think are no bust. Mm-hmm. Saquon, Bradley Chubb, Denzel Ward, Quentin Nelson, Minkah Fitzpatrick. So let's just get the quarterbacks out of it. Those 5 guys, and my scouts that I trust, they're like, those aren't really bust players.
No,
like
they're going to contribute.
I mean, Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb. And by the way, corner, pass rusher, those are wildly valuable. We've marginalized the safety. A great corner. I think
Hybrid
Denzel
safety.
Ward, I got to tell you, a source that I trust, whoever can get Denzel Ward, I hear he's the hottest guy in this.
Here's what you have to know about modern football, both in the college game and in the NFL.
Okay.
It's moving to, and this is a technical term, I'll explain it for you. It's moving to a closed field, a middle closed look. Almost everybody plays with only one high safety. Okay, so that means that the corners have to be great man players because they're going to be responsible for a third of the field in zone and man-to-man when it's man. They've got to be great on the outside. That's why Denzel Ward and Aqib Talib and all these guys, I mean, they're so valuable because they've got to play man on the outside and a middle closed look, one single safety. And then what also happens in a middle closed look is you've got to have a great hybrid player at the other safety position because, Colin, he's going to move down in coverage. He's going to move down in run support. He's going to be at all three levels at times. He's going to blitz. He's going to play linebacker. He's going to split out on the slot. He's going to then have to play a half safety when you're playing a two safety look. So that hybrid safety has become very valuable. And look at what we have. Pass rusher in the top 5. Corner in the top 5, and then the next player taken outside of a quarterback is the hybrid safety. Then you get into your offensive lineman, maybe another safety after that, and Quentin Nelson and Derwin James.
It's interesting about Josh Rosen. You have him dropped to 8, which is not significant unless you realize many, in fact, almost in yourself included, many of you have said he's the most NFL ready. So if you took the names out and I said, okay, there's this one guy, he's the most NFL ready, he's the best in the pocket, he's probably the smartest. Okay, if I just took names out, you'd be like, oh, that's the number 1 pick.
Right.
Okay, so something's happening when you've got him 3rd.
There's 2 things happening. First and foremost is that everyone is questioning his durability.
That's fair.
And it's absolutely fair. Part of the problem is, and this is going to sound crazy, but you've got to be tough to play the quarterback position, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
You get hit a lot, yeah.
Now, there is a line of kind of demarcation where if you're too tough, Colin, you expose yourself to too many hits.
Andrew Luck and Big Ben.
100%.
Cam Newton.
Those guys are big enough where it hasn't totally crippled their career, in particular in the Big Ben case and in Cam Newton's case. We're seeing the fruits of that toughness, quote unquote, for Andrew Luck, where he hasn't been healthy now for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Rosen doesn't nearly have the stature of a Roethlisberger or a Cam Newton physically.
But he'll stand in that pocket.
He will stand in there and take some wicked hits, which leads to missing games. So you're not going to help anybody win games while you're missing games. So that's the biggest knock right now on Josh Rosen. He's just tough enough to get himself in trouble. Really tough kid, but of course that can work.
Let me tell you something. Your draft is interesting.
Why's that?
Your mock draft. We don't have this written down. Holy moly. This is really interesting. You have the Dallas Cowboys. If this happens, this is the best fit, non-quarterback for a team. I'm not kidding. This Vita Vea for Washington.
Oh, he's a good player.
Holy.
And
he's
they need
Washington's
help on that side of the football.
Marcus Peters and Vita Vea are the best Washington players, even better than Shaq Thompson as pros.
Yeah.
You get him going to Dallas. Dallas needs a defensive tackle and a safety. If Dallas gets this kid, he will start and be. Wow, that's an interest. By the way, here's another one. This one's crazy.
Crazy in a good way, I'm hoping?
It's not a terrible way. You have the Steelers taking a running back.
Well,
Ronald Jones, USC.
Yeah, part of that, listen, part of this is when you go through these you're trying to look at everything, obviously. You're trying to look at team fit. You're trying to look at need. You're trying to look at best available.
Oh.
And there's part of me that just believes that the Steelers will be in the running back market.
Okay, I get it now.
Okay,
yeah, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, that makes sense. Let me see one more.
So it's not always exactly what you think.
No, but you have a
theory.
I
love you're taking the red pen to the mock draft.
No, but when I look at your mock draft, most of the players fit.
Right.
That one didn't, but now it does. Okay, here's another one I don't like. Don't like it.
Go ahead.
First of all, I'm a big believer in trading down. You got the Colts trading down again, which I love. I love Chris Ballard because I think they need more players, not one player.
They need a roster, not one singular player.
You haven't taken Calvin Ridley, Alabama, who I love as a wide receiver, but they need linebackers.
Yeah, they
do.
a
lot of them.
But remember now, when you get linebackers and you need linebacker depth, I think that's built in the second and third round. You don't need one great linebacker. You need lots of really good linebackers. So that's why they've got to address their their offense. They've got to address weapons, in particular on the outside. You get Calvin Ridley, and with those trade backs, remember, you're not stockpiling first-round picks. You're stockpiling second- and third-round picks. So they're going to address that linebacker position and a lot of different team needs. With all the stockpile of picks, I've had them after the trade back with the Jets, and then I think they're going to trade back again. I think I have them, Buffalo jumping up to that spot.
By the way, Jim Morris said something this week, and I'll have you respond.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I actually really appreciated his honesty on this because he's going to get blowback the minute Jim Morris said
about
it.
Rosen.
Yeah, so he said this for the uninitiated who have not seen this.
Because of fit.
Yeah.
I would take Sam Darnold if I were the Cleveland Browns. You know, I think that that blue collar, gritty attitude. I think his teammates will love him. I think the city will love him. He'll say the right things. He'll come in and he'll represent well. I think he kind of represents what Cleveland is. And then if I was one of the New York teams, I'd take Josh like that. I think they're both going to be great pros.
Okay, what do you make of that?
I think it's on it. Listen, there's a lot of different directions. You could make the argument that he is trying to avoid his guy going to Cleveland.
Oh,
I think that might be in play. He's also, when you just listen to what he said, he's probably right. Because he lived with a guy in Josh Rosen who was not going to be told what to do or what to say.
yes.
And he's been in the league, and he understands that city fit matters, right? You're going to have to, in particular being the face of a franchise, you're not kowtowing, but you've got to fit in with the fan base, right? They've got to gravitate towards you.
Because of my life, just because of my upbringing, how I was raised and you were raised, I wouldn't fit in Miami. I would be frustrated. If I was talented enough to be an NFL player, Miami's dysfunction, Washington's dysfunction wouldn't work for me.
Sure.
It wouldn't. Green Bay's, New England's rigidity would work. My high school basketball coach was my high school football coach was a yeller and a screamer. It is exactly what I needed.
I think Darnold probably fits at more places than Rosen.
Thank you.
That's not a knock.
I know.
On Rosen. It's just a fit. And Mora's getting criticized for talking about this, and it's like, oh, he's choosing Darnold over his own quarterback. Not necessarily the case. When I hear, read, see those comments, I think it's something very different. And like I said, I think it can be equally two things. One, he's trying to be accurate about fit, and also there's a part of me that thinks he might be trying to save his quarterback from going to Cleveland.
Hey, here's something this is brutally honest. The lower you go in the first round, the better team you end up with.
That's true.
By the way,
true.
If Andrew Luck would have dropped to Houston's roster,
yeah,
Dwayne Brown left tackle, 2-star receivers, J.J. Watt.
Yep.
Like, you could make the argument that Rosen dropping, by the way,
could be good for him.
You have him going to Arizona. That's a decent roster with a superstar running back, a Hall of Fame wide receiver, actually some good wide receivers.
I don't really know what Arizona's doing right now, though. They've signed a couple of quarterbacks that make me scratch my head.
I don't get it either.
And then I had them kind of trading up to take a Rosen.
I think
know they're
right.
in love with Josh Allen.
Who is?
Arizona is. But now with their moves, I don't think that they're going to be moving up to get him. They're the one right now. I cannot get a beat on what they're trying to do.
Totally agree.
It's a little bit directionless.
Okay, now where do I, if I want to look at your mock draft, it's really fun. Go to your teams, look how he lines it up. Where do I go?
FoxSports.com. The mock is up there. I'll be coming out with a new mock next week. So the fourth mock will be coming out next week because free agency has gone wild this year. I think it's been one of the most wild free agency
there's nothing like it.
Maybe ever, and some head-scratching moves, i.e. even Arizona. So I'll have another one up there next week, our fourth edition.
All right, Joel Klatt will go mock 4 with his fourth mock. See what I did there? That was not great.
What part of today's interview are you going to edit and give to some guy so he can criticize me?
Oh, come on. Don't do that.
I'm just saying.
No, listen.
You edited it all up.
It was all.
I had all this data. I love Saquon Barkley. He's the second pick of the draft. You guys made it out to be like,
did you
you don't like Saquon Barkley. I love Saquon Barkley.
Did you see the interview, though? The whole interview was me ripping him.
Thankfully, he's the only adult in the room, and he handled it great. Unbelievable.
Klatt. Come on, Klatt. Come on. Mock 4, fourth mock. Who knows? Third.